Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's video. So we're going to do a 10 to 14 day video update for you for today's video. So this is a little bit different. On a Sunday we'd normally have like long range stuff and that, but I'm having a few weeks off from the long range stuff. We ended our seasonal winter updates with winter forecast on Wednesday. I'm just going to run down the long range stuff a little bit during this month, and then in January we'll pick it back up again with GavsWeatherVids Sunny Roundup. That will return, of course, in the new year, and also in January we'll begin our spring updates as well. So, but just for this month, we'll just be doing like regular video updates on a Sunday. So, it'll be a little bit different, perhaps. So that's what we're going to do today. We will still be live streaming, though. Don't worry, 6 o'clock. We're still going to have our Sunday evening live stream. So we'll check in for an hour. I'll probably show you some winter data in that. I think we'll still show you some winter data for a little bit longer, probably this month, and then after that, I think we'll probably start live streaming on Samples Watch. I think just for the next 2 or 3 weeks, we'll probably still bring you some winter data. So we'll show you the latest forecast for this winter, but we have now just started from CanSIPs. And I'm sure we'll have a look at CFSV2 and bring you up to date with that as well. And so that's going to be live stream for an hour from 6 to 7 o'clock. That'll be absolutely fantastic. Right, so let's get on with it then. We're going to start off by having a look at development stratosphere-wise. So this is how temperatures are currently looking at 10 HPA over in the stratosphere, over the North Pole and the Arctic, with the GFS at atmosphere.fr. So we've got these blue colours. They are the cold temperatures we've got at 10 HPA. Of course, when the temperature gets very cold in the stratosphere, that's going to drive the zonal wind, and the zonal wind is kind of like the engine that's driving the polar vortex. So the colder the stratosphere, generally, colder the stratosphere, the more intense the polar vortex. But not always the case. Sometimes you get a disconnect, actually, between the stratosphere and the troposphere. And we've got a little bit of that going on at the moment, actually, because we have got quite a cold stratospheric temperature. We're down to around minus 76 at 10 HPA stratosphere, but we have got quite a bit of northern blocking, actually, at the moment. And so, yeah, we've got a little bit of disconnect between the stratosphere and the troposphere. So you don't always need like a warm stratosphere to get cold weather and northern blocking. Sometimes you can get that with a cold stratospheric temperature. And equally, if you have a warming of the stratosphere, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that you will get blocking and cold weather. But 9 times out of 10, our severest spells of winter weather are preceded by a sudden stratospheric warming. Did not happen in 2010 though, but December, to remember, looked like this pretty much throughout, with a cold stratospheric temperature throughout December 2010. No sudden stratospheric warming in that December. Right, let's run through then and see what's being predicted to happen by the GFS. So if anything, it's forecasting stratospheric temperatures to get even colder. The cold stratospheric temperature to intensify on our side of the Arctic over the next week or so, going down to around minus 85 there in around a week's time. We have got some warming around the edges, a little bit of warming down here across North Africa. We've got some warming over here on the Pacific side of Siberia. But cold over the pole itself as we go into like a week out. So that gets us to the middle of December. Let's see what happens after that. And similar to what we saw yesterday, but more intense, we are seeing signs of quite a significant warming of the stratosphere taking place as we run up towards Christmas. So look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. Quite a significant stratospheric warming going on there. It's almost reaching some stratospheric warming temperature levels, going up to around minus 12 there. At 10 HPA at its core on the 21st of December. On the scale, so you need to go just a little bit higher than that. Somebody asked me what is classified as a sudden stratospheric warming. I'm not sure if there is actually an official definition of it, but what I look for on these charts is like the red colours, so going to around minus 8 to plus 8. Minus 8 to plus 8 really is what I would class. Probably minus 4 to plus 4 or plus 8 is what I would class as reaching sudden stratospheric warming levels. So it's just about there, but it could do with like going another few degrees higher really. So that's one of the things that I look for. I also look, of course, to move that from, because that's only over Siberia, so we've got to infiltrate that into the North Pole and get rid of all of these blue and purple colours, you sort of decimate them. And when that happens, that is a true sudden-stratospheric warming, when you see these blue and purple colours being ripped apart. I'll show you the sudden-stratospheric warming from January 2013, probably, in another video. You can see how a proper sudden-stratospheric warming looks, how dramatic they are. It's very early days, though, to be seeing sort of any warming of the stratosphere actually at the moment. So if you want a sudden-stratospheric warming, then these are encouraging signs, I think, but we are already seeing the model output playing around with a significant warming of the stratosphere, because we're just starting winter. They don't normally happen until mid to late winter. So I think the fact that we're seeing signs of a significant warming of the stratosphere probably is an indication that at some point this winter it's going to be game on for a sudden stratospheric warming. But we shall see. We shall see about that, of course. Right, so we're keeping you up to date, keeping you updated throughout the winter on development stratosphere-wise. Central temperature is looking like this from Hadley, so we're standing at 4.5. That is an anomaly of around 1 degree below average. That's provisional up to yesterday the 5th, been quite a cold start to December, and these temperatures are likely to, CT is likely to edge down further, given that we're going to have some quite cold days and frosty nights. 500 millibar high anomaly flow charts, Maine State University for the next week, 10 days, looking like this. We've got the ECMWF on the top, and the GFS, which I'll in a moment, is on the bottom. So 500 millibars is an area in the axis high pressure, low pressure, are being moved around by the jet stream running above. Red accelerates high pressure, blue low pressure. So you can see that with the ECM, we've got a large area of above average height sitting to our north and east. We've got below average heights out to our west. And so anticyclonic and probably pulling in either a relatively mild southerly, but more likely, I would have thought, actually quite a chilly, maybe pretty cold, sort of southeasterly from off the continent. So that would be suggestive of a little bit of frost and fog, I think. And of course, the main centre of the ridge is still up here, which is actually sort of northern blocking. So it would only take a slight adjustment to really start bringing those winds around into the east. The GFS is much more unsettled in the 7 to 10 day time frame. So again, we have the above average heights to our east and northeast. We've got the below average heights. Let's change the colour again. We've got the below average heights out to our west. And yeah, so that's milder and more unsettled with the GFS. Still with northern blocking though. So all that's happening is like we're going on to the mild side of the northern block, but it has still got really quite considerable amounts of northern blocking. And again, probably would only take slight adjustments to mean that we would still be relatively cold, actually. So yes, they've both got northern blocking. ECM is by far like the driest but also coldest of the solutions, and the GFS is the wettest and mildest. No, don't want to go there, want to go there. Right, so these are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles. Let's go to sort of Bedford again today. That's the last place we looked at yesterday, so I thought we'd have another look at it today. So the red line is virtually upper air temperature average for Bedford. We're below average at the moment. We're cold at the moment. Going to stay on the bottom. We're going to stay cold really until like the middle to latter stages of this week. Then the temperature lifts up and returns to average. In the middle part of December, that's this period just here, it is looking relatively mild. We may be seeing a little bit of a cooling trend as we go into the very extended range, which is running up towards Christmas. Does it look like we're seeing a bit of a cooling trend? I think we might be. Most of the ensemble members then are still milder than average, but we have got these ones down here. They are outliers, but they are proper cold outliers. They're going down to like minus 10 to minus 12 at 850 HPA, which is really cold. And I think there is a little bit of a cooling trend in evidence there. So it could be that the GFS ensembles are looking a little bit more interesting as we run up towards Christmas today, possibly. Right, so precipitation-wise, those are dry weather to come until like later this week when the temperature begins to lift up. It starts to turn a bit more unsettled as well. Quite unsettled through the middle part of December. Quite a bit of rain coming through there. Maybe a bit of a drying trend heading towards Christmas as it might be starting to turn a bit colder. Temperature anomalies from the 6th through to the 14th of December. Very close to average. Not a particularly big deviation either way, really. precipitation anomalies from the 6th to 14th of December, again, very close to average, maybe a little bit drier than average in the southeastern corner. I would expect these to start trending milder and wetter over the next 2 or 3 days, but we shall see about that. Here's today's Windflow Map from earthnorschool.net, showing that we are dominated by high pressure. High pressure is in control of the weather at the moment. The westerlies, the rain-bearing, but also mild westerlies are being held at bay for the time being out in the Atlantic. You see how the jet stream with this Windflow Map is going in that direction. So we're on the cold side of the jet, and we're sort of under and close to like an area of high pressure that's up to our northeast. So although we're under a trough at the moment, have been for a few days, you know, it's high pressure that's dominating and blocking the route of these mild sort of westerly winds. That's how the UK Met Office is looking for Wednesday. So under a shallow area of low pressure on Wednesday, with showers, if not possibly some longer spells of rain. They may be a little bit wintry in the north as well. Still pretty cold on Thursday, but this low pressure is heading in from off the Atlantic, and that eventually pushes through as we go through to Friday. Will bring milder winds from the south to southwest, but also some outbreaks of rain. That's how we look as we get through to Saturday. As far as we go with the UK Met, is to Saturday the 12th of December. So obviously the Westies have broken through, but look at this. We're still sort of trending these areas of low pressure south of their normal position. Fundamentally, the UK Met is not really that different. It still has the ridge into Scandinavia from the Siberian high just there. It's trying to push that ridge a little bit further westwards towards Greenland, which is still sending the jet stream on a northwest-southeast alignment, meaning that these low pressures are running northwest-southeast, and so, again, we could pull in the wind from the north, you know, we could start to reintroduce colder northerly or northeasterly winds from that sort of scenario. All it would take is for this next little low, so that's one low clearing away into the low countries, this next little low just here, all it would take is for that to become like a trigger low, and go in that direction, and then we could start opening the door to northerly winds. So although we do get a milder push and outbreaks of rain at the end of this week and into the weekend, you know, the weather patterns overall look very, very different to what we saw, for example, at this point last year. That's how the GFS is looking again. We're sort of under a shallow trough on Wednesday. The high pressure is away towards Siberia. That's what's causing, Western Russia, I should say. It's an extension from the Siberian high. That's what's causing all of the havoc at the moment. Now, if the low pressure comes rolling into the end of the week, that will bring outbreaks of rain and some strengthening winds and milder temperatures as well. And that continues into the weekend. Now, it's further north of the area of low pressure compared to the UK Met. The GFS has low pressure further north, so this is milder as we're going right through the weekend with winds rather more southwesterly. Those milder conditions continue into the early part of next week as well, but it isn't long before high pressure is building back in. So this is day 10, Wednesday 16th of December, when high pressure starts moving back in across the country, turning us drier and probably colder as well. And then in the extended range of this GFS run anyway, the high pressure really takes over. Look at that very intense area of high pressure at around 1,040 millibars, I think, right over top of the country. So that will be bringing frost and fog, of course. That will bring the gruesome twosome frost and fog as we move up towards Christmas, and you know, probably some quite cold days as well. As far as we go with this GFS run is to Tuesday the 22nd of December, and the question then is, what is that high pressure doing? Where is that high pressure going? It's still centered over the country, but does that look like it's trying to reach north? Does that look like trying to reach towards Greenland? There's a deep cold pool sitting to the north and northwest of Europe that's waiting to plunge southwards if that ridge goes northwards. If the ridge goes northwards, we'll plunge cold air southwards into northern Europe. Look at the upper air temperatures. And you can see that we have got some very, very cold upper air temperatures sort of in western Russia, the far northeast of Europe. So all that has to happen there, on 22nd of December, it's just 2 or 3 days before Christmas, all that has to happen is that the high pressure has to go in that direction, and the cold air that's sitting there to the north and northeast would start to plunge southwards. How interesting does that look 3 days before Christmas? But of course, it's over 2 weeks away, so it's not to be relied upon whatsoever. Right, this is how the GM is looking then. So unsettled and quite chilly on Wednesday. We go through into the second half of this week, and low pressures coming in off the Atlantic, but struggling. So again, we've got these low pressures going on a more southerly track. This is more in line with what UK Met is showing at 144 hours, with the GM really struggling to push these low pressures northwards and eastwards. So the GM probably hangs on to pretty cold but also wet weather into next weekend. Eventually the GM does get there with a push of milder winds from the southwest early next week. That's how we look as we get to day 10, which is Wednesday the 16th of December. So mild, yes, we're drawing up the air from a south-southwesterly direction, and unsettled. Low pressure will be bringing further spells of rain. However, we still look pretty blocked, don't we? If we look northwards, we can still see that there is higher pressure somewhere in the middle of the Norwegian Sea. So even that could trend colder if we went any further. And then, which we can't because we can only go to day 10 with a GM. And then the East QBO again looks unsettled with a shallow trough over top of the country on Wednesday. Into the end of the week, again, low pressure trying to come in from off the Atlantic, but high pressure is blocking to our northeast, blocking the progress, and so the low pressure begin to slide southeast. So this could be a signal for a lot of rain, actually. This could be quite wet at the end of this coming week and into next weekend, because I think we'll have like stationary weather fronts probably that want to go in that direction, but become stuck, if you like, and then start to move in that direction. So that could produce quite a lot of rain. We go through into like next week and then start getting a milder push from the southwest, so it does turn milder, but we've still got a wall of high pressure sitting to our east, and as we get to day 10, which is Wednesday the 16th of December, it looks like the high pressure is taking over in a similar fashion to what the GFS 6 set is showing. So if we could go any further on with that, I suspect we would see a large area of high pressure taking over across northern and western Europe. It bring like frost and fog if nothing else. This would be precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from meteo.com. So we have got some more snow to come, actually. Going to be Monday night into Tuesday as this low pressure comes in from the east. That's going to be rain, but also risk of sleet and snow to northeast England, particularly to parts of Scotland as well. Turns back to rain by the middle part of the week as the air becomes that little bit milder. And then in tries to come the low pressures from off the Atlantic, but they are struggling to push through. So we do get some showy rain coming through in the second half of the week, and then we start going into that higher pressure sitting to our east, of course, drawing up milder southerly winds initially, but as the high pressures begin to take over, there will be an increasing risk of inversion and frost and fog, I would have thought. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10, which gets us to the 16th of December. We have 28 members of the ECM ensemble showing high pressure, a wall of high pressure sitting to our east. Low pressure is to our west, and we'll be drawing up like a southerly, southeasterly wind. So if we draw up southerly, it's going to be relatively mild. If we tilt that round to the southeast, then we will start bringing colder air from off the continent. And 28 members are doing that. 23 have the low pressure to our west-southwest, and of course they're bringing up milder air from the southwest, but also a lot more unsettled. Still with the high pressure to the northeast, so still with the blocking area of high pressure lurking away to our northeast. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. There's a lot of them. This gets us to the 21st of December, just before Christmas. 14 members of the ECM ensembles with low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south, and so they're going to be mild and Atlantic driven. 13 with high pressure sitting to our north, and they're going to be drawing in like an easterly. They'll be drawing in an easterly wind, and they could be cold and frosty. 12 looking very unsettled and cool with low pressure over top of the country, higher pressure to the north, so they're going to be very unsettled and pretty cool as well. 7 with northern blocking and potentially bringing in a wind from like an easterly direction. And then 5 with high pressure way to the northwest, low pressure to the southeast. That could be quite wintry, that option. I mean, that could be bringing in wind from like a north to northeasterly direction, and it could be that is the most wintry option. This is probably the coldest option, the 13 just here in the form of frost, fog, and that sort of thing. But this could be the snowiest option, with low pressure to our south and east and high pressure away to the northwest and bringing in like a northerly to northeasterly wind perhaps. CFSV2 looks like this. These are 500 millibar heights bring down to weak periods. The first weak period takes from the 6th to the 12th of December. Coming week has low pressure over top of the country, going to be unsettled, combined with high pressure in the northern latitudes, so cool, cold, and unsettled. Week 2 is the 13th to the 19th of December. No higher pressure here. It's actually lower pressure out in the Atlantic that's driving the weather. And despite the fact we've got a big Scandinavian / Siberian high, we're actually relatively mild, bringing the wind from west-southwesterly direction, but also unsettled. Week 3 looks like that. It's the 20th to 26th of December with low pressure again just out to our west. High pressure is to our northeast. That looks unsettled and potentially quite mild as well. And then week 4 is the 27th of December to 2nd of January, looking unsettled with low pressure to the northwest, and winds are in from a westerly direction. Probably still relatively mild, but also unsettled for the new year. I just want to leave you with this. We have had news from the QBO, the quasi-biennial oscillation. So I'm going to bring you up to date with what the QBO is showing for last month. So of course the QBO, we've got negative numbers here. These are for monthly periods all the way back to 1950. We've got negative numbers, you're in an easterly QBO. We've got positive numbers, you're in a westerly QBO. Easterly QBO is when we weaken the zone of winds. It's just a way of looking at the strength of zone of winds, really. So an easterly QBO is when we weaken the zone of winds. Westerly QBO is when we strengthen the zone of winds. So in the winter, a strengthened westerly QBO and a strengthened zone of wind will tend to coincide with a milder winter, and like an easterly QBO with weakened zone of wind will tend to coincide with the chance of a cold winter. It's not as simple as that, because there are many easterly QBOs that are mild winters. Anyway, let's bring you up to date with the latest. So of course we began this year 2020 with a developing easterly QBO, and it strengthened into the spring, but then it failed late spring into summer. We had a failure of the easterly QBO and a reversion back to the westerly QBO, which has become really quite strong through this past autumn gone. So November's QBO number comes out plus 11.15. My good friend Richard Trott noticed this on Twitter a few days ago and alerted me to it. So thanks so much, Rich, for doing that. So yeah, plus 11.15 was the QBO number for November 2020. But it's a proper strong westerly QBO. So we are currently in a real westerly QBO phase when we should be actually having that sort of number on the negative side, to be honest, by now. So we should be having a strong easterly QBO. What we've actually got is strong westerly QBO. However, let's just look at this from NASA before we go. So this is showing the westerly and easterly QBO phases. That's the last proper easterly QBO phase just there from 2017-2018. This is the last proper westerly QBO there from like 2019 through to 2018 through 2019. And so you can see that we should have had the blue colours here move down from stratosphere to troposphere. This is like the stratosphere level just here, 10 HPA. Of course, troposphere is around 30 to 50 HPA. We should have seen these blue colours, the easterly QBO, move from the stratosphere to the troposphere. It did not, and what actually happened is that the westerly QBO strengthened through the summer and into the autumn. But the easterly QBO never completely went away. It's always been lurking at the top of the stratosphere. It's still there, and it is strengthening and pushing down now. The easterly QBO is strengthening and pushing down from the stratosphere to the troposphere. Let's zoom in on this and look at that. You can clearly see now that the easterly QBO is properly developing within the stratosphere, and it is pushing down towards the troposphere. We still are in a westerly QBO at the moment, but because this easterly QBO in the stratosphere is strengthening and propagating towards the troposphere, it probably limits the effect of this westerly QBO and the strength of it. And I would have thought, so we're going to be still going to be in the westerly QBO for December, but it'll probably be a reduction in strength compared to what we had in October and November. We may still be in the westerly QBO for January. I would have thought by February and March there's a chance that we might start getting some slightly negative numbers and going back towards the easterly QBO. But I think it'll be beyond winter really before the easterly QBO really sort of beds in, because there is 2 or 3 month lag lag, you know, between the start of the QBO phase and the effects on the troposphere. So I would have thought it'll be more of a spring. Very similar situation to where it was at the beginning of last year, or this year, I suppose, beginning of 2020. It'll be more towards the spring when the next East QBO phase finally starts to lock in. I would have thought that is very likely to properly lock in, but of course we said that about the East QBO last winter, didn't we? But you know, it'd be quite strange to get another failure of the East QBO. But we never know these days what's going to happen with the QBO. It has become quite unreliable. But anyway, East QBO is strengthening and developing in the stratosphere. It's moving downwards towards the troposphere. I think the next East QBO is on the way, or certainly the next go at getting into the next East QBO phase is on the way. Normally, the QBO phase, East QBO phase lasts longer than West QBO phase, by the way. So West QBO phase, I think, tends to last around 11 to 12 months, whereas the Easterly QBO tends to last around 15 months. So if we sort of go into the Easterly QBO like late winter, early spring, we should still be well and truly in the Easterly QBO for next winter, for 2021-2022. That winter should definitely be an East QBO winter, as long as there's no sort of failure. Right, if you enjoyed this video, then please click like, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids. And we have now gone past 8,500 subscribers. So amazing. And, you know, I don't know how long it's going to take us to get to 9k subs, but hopefully we'll be able to get there before too much longer. So thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. If you aren't yet subbed to the channel, then please do so. We're going to be back at 6 o'clock with the live stream. So, yeah, we'll check in, I'll answer some questions, we'll see how we're all doing, and we'll show you a bit of winter data with that, I think. And that's going to be from 6 until 7 this evening. For this one, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.